good, everybody? Robin E. here, host of Pillow Talk Podcast, and I am here to bring you my top five black books you better have read. I am very big on reading and expressing creativity through journalism. I'm a journalism major, so I'm always looking for good books to read, good articles, good essays, good speeches, etc. And we've gotten to this point right now where people don't read. I'm not talking about reading a two-page article online, reading a status. I'm talking about a book with pages that you can turn. We have lost the art and appreciation for good books. And I have been dwelling, that's not a word. I have been dabbling in more of black literature and trying to expand my mind and be more open on different types of black literature to intake. So during quarantine, I've been getting my book game up, and I want to bring you guys a list of the 5 books that I was able to knock out over these past 3 months. Depending on how the reviews go on this, if you guys actually read, I'll drop another episode on 5 more books that I have started to read as well. James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. So you can get this on Amazon. It's only like $12. Amazon has all of black literature. Any black book you can think of, for the most part, Amazon has them. You can't get away from Amazon. So if you don't know where to get it, you can get it there. I love this book. James Baldwin is an amazing black author, philanthropist, just a black person you should know in general, because he's a part of our culture. And I got my sticky notes. So I be annotating, you know what I'm saying? I be annotating. And then he's an outstanding author of more than 20 memorable works. So he died in 1987, which I guess now, well, it's not really that long ago, to be honest with you. It's only like a little over 30 years ago. So he died in modern times, but he made so many impressionable pieces of work throughout American history that we can't help but acknowledge him for that. So James Baldwin's book was remarkable as it was a memoir detailing his upbringing as a black gay man, struggling with drugs, society, political dashes, and so much that was going on during that time. And then it also shed light on the importance of black pride history. So one part that I really loved in the book, and I'm going to just read a passage to y'all out of here. Protect your women in a civilization that emasculates the male and abuses the female, and in which, moreover, the male is forced to depend on the female's breadwinning power. Protect your women. In the teeth of the white man's boast, we figure we're doing you folks a favor by pumping some white blood into our kids, and while facing the southern shotgun in northern Billy. Years ago, we used to say, yes, I'm black, goddammit, and I'm beautiful, in defiance into the void. But now African kings and heroes have come into the world out of the past that can now be put to the uses of power. And black has become a beautiful color, not because it is loved, but because it is feared. Woo! Okay? Fire! Next, we have Maya Angelou, poems. So I'm a big Maya Angelou fan. This is just really a collaboration composed of all of her best works featured in this book here. So just to name some in here, it's got like Just Give Me a Cool Drink for Water Before I Die, and Still I Rise, Oh Pray My Wings Are Gonna Fit Me Well. So some of her very prominent poems. If you don't know who Maya Angelou is, slap yourself. No, I'm just kidding. But she's an amazing poet and philanthropist as well, born in 1928. And she was also friends with James Baldwin. So they actually were friends during their lifetime. That just goes to show how prominent these black authors were, because it wasn't really a lot of them around making strides. So they kind of had to, stick together. Well, it's a few poems that she wrote that I love, but I'm just going to read one favorite poem here that I really enjoyed. So this is called On Working White Liberals. I don't ask the Foreign Legion or anyone to win my freedom or to fight my battle better than I can. Though there's one thing that I cry for, I believe enough to die for. That is every man's responsibility to man. I'm afraid they'll have to prove first that they'll watch the black man move first, then follow him with the faith to kingdom come. This rocky road is not paved for us, so I believe in liberals' aid for us when I see a white man load a black man's gun. Woo! Chills, baby. Chills. But just the way that her words flow, like, damn, Maya, you ain't have to do it like that. Next book is The Valley of the Dry Bones, The Conditions That Face Black People in America. So honestly, I don't know how I found this book. I think I was just browsing on Amazon. You know, like when you buy one black book, they bring like 30 more black books. This is written by Rudolph R. Windsdor. So he's not a, world-renowned author, but he does have a lot of literacy works that are very prominent locally where he's from and in black culture in general. Internationally known author and public speaker on history and self-development. So he's a very educated black man. Anytime you're going to read, a piece of literature by someone that's kind of not known, you do kind of want to do your background on them to make sure that it is something of substance that you're reading, because people are able to put out whatever nowadays. So he received his BA degree in Hebrew language, history, and culture. He also has a master's and doctoral degrees in metaphysics. So he's a genius, low-key. So for one, I just want to say, this is very detailed as far as language and description. So brace yourself. It talks about the historical, economical, cultural, and internal war that blacks have faced and still face today. It's a powerful use of description, language, and historical and biblical references, which I found very, very refreshing. A lot of times when you read black authors that are talking about the black struggle, you do mention religion to an extent, but you don't really dive into the roots of religion and to how it's connected to black people. Because it's a lot in here. I probably will go back over this book and take some things out and try to implement them, because, hey, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is in reference to the lack of black businesses resulting in the destruction of the black community. So he says, there is a class struggle and a sex struggle in the black community. The stable and financially secure blacks are against the dire hardcore and abject poor. The men and women are against each other. The women cannot respect the men. The root cause of most of these problems is the unemployed black male who displays a bad image in the community. Many of these unemployed burglarize what few black stores there are, forcing them to close up in disgust. This kind of situation produces self-contempt among black people and leaves a vacant store available for members for other nationalities to occupy. What? Every day that I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook and I'm online, I'm always talking to people or seeing people post about how black women bashing black men. We don't respect black men. Next up, women's liberation and the African freedom struggle. This is by Thomas Sankara. I wanted to include this on here because I'm a woman and I be struggling, period. He was the central leader of the Popular Democratic Revolution in West African country of Burkina Faso from 1983 to 1987. So he was assassinated in 1987. So he is a very prominent piece of African culture for African women. He was able to push forth a movement that is still being pushed today. He also spoke constantly about a new revolution being needed and imperialism and how it has made black people victims. So a lot of these books that I'm, bringing up really dive into different obstacles that black people face and how we are supposed to overcome them. And that's kind of like a constant thing for me whenever I'm reading certain books pertaining to the black struggle. Not only do we want to talk about it, but we want to talk about how to change it, how to reverse it, how to overcome it. But I'm gonna read my favorite part and stick to the script. Was just a passage of him basically giving recognition to women and all that a woman encompasses and all that she deals with. So he says, this human being this vast and complex combination of pain and joy, solitary and forsaken, yet creator of all humanity, suffering, frustrated, and humiliated, and yet endless source of happiness for each one of us. This source of affection beyond compare, inspiring the most unexpected courage, this being called weak but possessing untold ability to inspire us to take the road of honor, this being of flesh and blood and of spiritual conviction, this being woman is you. You are a source of comfort and life companions, our comadres in struggle, who because of this act should by rights assert yourselves as equal partners in the joyful victory feast of the revolution. R.I.P. to that man, okay? R.I.P. to that man. Last, but certainly not least, before we were wicked, Jerome Dickey. So he's a very prominent black author. He writes a lot of like fan shit and romantic stuff and, you know, black love stories, stuff like that. But I was very surprised to come across this book of his and really see the underlying context. Like I said, this book really stuck out to me because it was fun and it was colorful and it was elaborate and descriptive, but it had a lot of underlying context in it that really made it memorable for me and impactful as a black woman. And when you're thinking about cultural differences, when you're wanting to love somebody. I won't read anything because it's written in a conversation style, but the basis of cultural differences between Ethiopians, African Americans is insane. And you get to follow this story of a black African American trying to date this Ethiopian woman who has all of the disgust in her heart for America, but cannot get over her love for this American man. So those are my top 5 black books you better have read. Hopefully you enjoyed the list. Hopefully I gave you guys some nice literature you can pick up and really dive into. Reading is very important. It's very fundamental. And honestly, you cannot know where you're going until you know where you've been. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button. Peace out.